Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to talk to you about you and your business. And I want to remind people that that you're in business in order to live, and it's time for you to really reevaluate how you do things if your life is only about your business. And it's great that I have our guests on today because, interestingly, over the weekend, I spent some time in Dallas with a very good friend of mine, a regular contributor on The Price of Business, Davin Michaels, who specializes in this new wealth lifestyle, where individuals really learn how to leverage their time and leverage their lives in order to really focus on what their values and priorities are. And I'm excited to be able to really go further in that theme with our guest today. His name is Ari Meisel. He's author of Less Doing, More Living. And I guess you're part of that home Tim Ferriss philosophy and group. Is that true, Ari?
To some extent, I'd say thanks for having me. First of all, the only thing is that Tim, and I know Tim, and he's a great inspiration to so many people, but he doesn't have a family, So I have 3 little kids and a wife, and that throws a whole different kind of wrench into how you integrate work and life, and so my system of Less Doing really takes everybody's situation into account to try to make everything in everyone's lives easier.
Okay, very good, very good. I have a family too, although mine are finally getting old, and they're getting to that point. My youngest now is 16, and he's like trying to figure out how to not spend as much time with me as he humanly possibly can. That's not true. He's actually pretty generous compared to most of my kids at this age. But you know what I'm talking about. They're older, but at the same time, I have a wife, and that has to be thrown into the balance. And so there's certainly issues there that Tim doesn't have. Although I will say this. Tim puts a premium on things. He's married to things he's passionate to. I think you know what I mean. And you get that from his speaking. You get that from his writing as well. But I like the direction you're going here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's really important nowadays, where everybody is telling me all the time how overwhelmed they are.
Yeah. Oh, and overwhelmed, is a state of mind, and it's voluntary. It's not. We're not victims of that.
That's absolutely true. And it's interesting, too, because I talk about a lot of different technology and apps and things that you can use, but at the base of it, it starts with a real different approach to how you look at the things that are affecting you and the things that you're doing in your life and with your time, because honestly, technology tends to amplify whatever you currently have going on. So it doesn't necessarily make things easier if you don't start from a place of efficiency.
Absolutely. So tell me what inspired you to get into this whole area of helping business owners with this struggle, if you will, of balance.
Sure. Well, it actually started with a pretty significant health crisis for me. About 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is a chronic inflammatory condition that affects the digestive tract. It's considered to be incurable, and it's very painful. And I was taking a lot of medicine and getting very sick. And after one really bad night in the hospital, I decided to change things, and I went on this long journey of self-tracking and self-experimentation. And after about 4 months, was off my meds and on my way to training for my first triathlon. And on the way to then training for Ironman France, I realized that I had figured out the nutrition and the supplements and the fitness aspects of my illness, and I was doing really well. But there was still this large element of stress in my life that was affecting my illness, my life, my relationships. And to deal with that, I created this system of productivity to help people optimize, automate, and outsource everything in their lives in order to be more effective.
Mm-hmm. By the way, do you believe Crohn's disease is attributed to stress? Is that a factor?
Absolutely. There's no question. Stress leads to, not even leads to, stress causes pretty immediate inflammation and an inflammatory response, and on a chronic level, that gets out of hand. So stress is a factor in a lot of autoimmune diseases, a lot of metabolic conditions, and everyone has stress, and most people don't manage it very well.
Yeah. And do you consider yourself cured?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I have been. I not only have I been pain-free and medicine-free for over 6 years now, I think, 5 years at least. I've replicated my results in a couple dozen other people.
Wow, that's fascinating. And you attribute it to lifestyle. Really comes down to lifestyle. Choosing not to be stressed, developing ways of not being stressed, and then eating and exercising.
Yeah, and some supplements too.
And supplements. I'm a huge fan of supplements. Let me tell you, man, those have literally. I had my own health crisis a few years ago, and it was adrenal fatigue related. And, you get medical doctors trying to, I had an endocrinologist telling me, no, dude, they're just going to steal your money, and they wanted me to look, explore deeper neuromuscular disorders. And sure enough, I stumbled on a naturopath who put me on a whole regimen of supplements, and I was actually losing my eyesight. That's how bad my adrenal fatigue was. And within 48 hours, I had half of my eyesight restored, and, I'm probably healthier now than I was the 3 years leading up to realizing I had adrenal fatigue. And so it can be turned around.
Did they ever have you try holy basil?
No, holy basil.
Yeah, holy basil, ashwagandha. There's a couple herbs that are of the adaptogenic variety, which means that they basically can help you increase cortisol and decrease cortisol as needed. And it's really great at balancing hormones. It's really good for the adrenals. So, holy basil is a good one.
I will
even if you don't have adrenal fatigue.
I will talk to my naturopath about that. Holy basil. And, we used a lot of standard process products, and I don't know if you're familiar with them, but, man,
very familiar.
They are miraculous. I mean, I just couldn't believe the turnaround that I had. Literally within 24 hours, much of my eyesight restored. And people wonder, I mean, your adrenal gland is the fundamental gland for your survival. By design, I don't care if you believe in evolution or if you believe in God, as I do, by design or by our natural process, that gland is designed to save your life. And so it will pull whatever it needs to pull from wherever it needs to pull to keep on doing the best it can. Mine was so severe, it was even affecting my eyesight. And less than 24 hours using what they have from a cow, the adrenal gland from a cow, a tablet of that, much of that eyesight restored. And like I said, no time, feeling better than ever. Anyway, we're going to run out of time if we're not careful, and we want to get down to what you're doing. Talk about what you do on a coaching level.
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, so my book came out last week, and that's really been a good culmination of sort of all the basics that I teach people. But on the coaching, I basically work on increasing human performance in every way I can. So I deal with everything from high-performing CEOs to semi-professional athletes. I haven't had a professional yet. And even stay-at-home moms, everybody who wants to be more effective in whatever they do. So I do a lot of the productivity and stress and time management stuff, but I also do a lot of wellness / biohacking with people.
Very cool, very cool. And who do you try to pitch to as far as potential clients? You mentioned semi-pro athletes. What about business owners, that type of thing?
Yeah, so I've had several high-level CEOs and startup founders and pretty much everything in between. But I really love working with people who are into it, who want to make that change and they want to get involved and want to learn about it and do it all and really take off on their own.
Very good. And is there certain types of C-level individuals you like to reach?
The ones who want to do better. I mean, honestly, and they're not all like that. People who want to improve their performance in any way possible. Those are the people that I want to work with.
Listen, I appreciate your time today. Very good information. What website would you like to drive people to?
Everything that I write about, my podcast, all that stuff is at lessdoing.com. And if they want to get the book, they can go right to lessdoingbook.com. Ari Meisel has been our guest. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter, and this is The Price of Business.